Hey, good morning, Freshmen. Happy Friday. So, a real quick video today. I just wanted to go over what we'll be doing in class. The Romantic period, of course, we've just covered, and all these eras we're covering with just one or two short stories. So it's unfortunately just something we're going to have to rush a little bit. But of course, there are far more stories and that sort of thing that we could look at. But for the time being, we're going to move on. So we're going to go on to the the realism era, and let me just go over very quickly the different ones. So we've covered Native American lit, the Age of Enlightenment, the Benjamin Franklin stuff, and the Jonathan Edwards stuff. Romantic period, which was all the stuff we just read, Edgar Allan Poe and Nathaniel Hawthorne, lots of symbolism. And then just like all these other movements, audiences especially started to crave something different. So they're getting kind of sick of science fiction and horror stories, all this sort of symbolism stuff. They want like true to life stuff now. So beginning after Civil War and up until about the beginning of World War One, became the realism movement. And so it meant that people wanted truer literature. They wanted to avoid the things that made Romanticism what it made. And the reason is because they kind of just grew tired of it, and they started wanting something else. The characters were typically defined by class, wealth, materialism, and ordinary lives. They wanted to see normal people and ethical situations. So it was far more interesting for people at the time to read about common people who were in serious conflict than it was having a fanciful symbol go through a forest full of symbols, like in Young Goodman Brown. So it was just something that they started to want. Some representative authors, probably you'll notice, or you'll recognize some of these: Mark Twain, Frederick Douglass, Jack London, and Kate Chopin. We're going to actually read a Kate Chopin story today, and it's called "The Story of an Hour." It's pronounced Chopin, by the way. It's French, but you don't want to just say Chopin, basically. It's Chopin. So this is 1894. This is right, obviously, before 1900. So kind of smack in the middle of the realism movement. It's very short. It's only a couple pages long. This is probably what most of you think about when you're talking about a short story. So I want us to do a couple things with it. Number one, it's not especially challenging to read, but the underlying message is maybe a little hidden. So what I'd like you to do is to first read through it, and then make a guess about what you think it's trying to say. Okay, just kind of keep that in your head. Read through it again and see if everything lines up. Okay, and so that's a really good tactic. It's the same sort of thing that we did with Young Goodman Brown. We just did it in pieces. So basically, when you make a hypothesis about what you think a story is about or a poem, then you reread it again and see if everything still fits into your hypothesis. And if it doesn't, then you got to make a different guess. But if it does, then you have a strong argument. And then after that, go into Microsoft Teams and answer the questions that I have there. And so I want you to read it twice, but in between the two reads, I want you to again make a guess about what you think it's trying to say, and then test it out on the second read. Okay. You don't need to respond to other people today, but I do need you to make sure that you try to go through this twice and answer the questions appropriately. Okay. On Monday, we'll continue reading another realism story that will be kind of similar in nature, and we'll go from there. So take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.